Hey, let me in. I got a story to tell you. It's been quite a while since we've done a disturbing video game deep dive into a rabbit hole, so I figured because I've been having such bad luck with copyright and all the movie reviews, we should get back into one of those. This game I had seen several YouTubers play a couple of months ago, but I had yet to see a full deep dive of the game come out that I was impressed with. So, like the no skin video I did, I figured that should fall to me. The game we are going to be talking about today is No, I'm Not Human. A more popular game than we usually cover, but the subject matter is pretty similar. The game itself seems far too easy at first to get the hang of, but the more you dive into it, the harder it actually is. The basic premise is you are going to be in a house, and while the world is ending outside, you have to help survivors find shelter. However, every survivor isn't what they seem. This is in addition to a fun and unique experience each time. After you beat the game, you might think that that's it, and it's a pretty surface level thing. But the game has a deep rabbit hole of things going on that don't quite seem to make sense. There are 10 endings which we are going to cover that all seem to imply different things, and I plan to piece it all together at the very end. So let's go over how this video is going to work. It's going to be a little bit different from a lot of my other videos. We're going to start out by doing a basic rundown of the game and story, what one might find in a first playthrough and stuff like that. Then we are going to go over every ending, and yes, I mean every single one. And then finally, we are going to go over each and every character in the game, and a little bit about each of their stories and how to spot if they are a danger to you. And then finally, we will get to the analysis. But before we get into all of that, I would really appreciate if you could take the time to like the video and subscribe, as it helps me out a lot, as we are 2/3 of the way to 100,000 subscribers, and that is a lifelong dream of mine. I appreciate you all, and let's get into that. When you hit play for the first time, the opening cutscene will tell you a very small amount of the story. It will open on a shot of a river, and what sounds like a phone call between two people. Yeah, we just got back from our trip. Aren't you tired of staying home? Yeah, I remember. We went to the beach, but it was way too hot yesterday, so we took off. Yeah, we're getting her ready for school. She doesn't want to do, but what can you do, right? Alright, I'll drop by later tonight. Okay, talk to you later. Bye. Over the course of this phone call, which seems nonsensical because we don't have the other side of the conversation, we see a bunch of random people. A guy driving a car, a researcher with a bunch of stuff at his desk, a guy lying unconscious at the beach, a woman with long legs getting home to a cat, a little girl on a swing set, and finally somebody walking by some windows. These people we don't know, but we certainly will know them soon enough, and why they matter to the story. But let's get into the actual game now. It will then let you into a house. Your house. This is your play area for the entire game. You will not leave this area except for one singular exception, which we will talk about when we get to the endings. This house is easy enough to navigate. You have your bedroom, a kitchen, an office, a closet, a bathroom, and the hall/living room. Each of these rooms is a static image as well, so except for this one singular hallway and that thing we'll talk about later, that is all this game is. The entire gameplay of the game is just one room. And in that room, they fit so much content that borders on it being a rabbit hole, so that's quite impressive. To start the game, go to the front door, which you will hear knocking at. You can look through the peephole at the door, and you're going to be doing that a lot, by the way. Outside, you will see a man in a jacket. This is your neighbor and your tutorial in a sort of way. After you beat the game a couple times, you can skip it here, but let's go over it. He will tell you that it's been a while. and he asks how you are. You are given dialogue options that will progress the conversation like any other game with branching dialogue trees. No matter what you say in this first conversation, though, he will express concern for you, saying something bad is heading our way. Something cataclysmic at that. He says he was just on the phone with his cousin, and she told him that something weird is going on with the sun. Not only that, there seems to be these strange beings coming up from under the ground. People are calling them visitors for some reason. Creepy stuff. You can ask about either of those two problems. If you ask about the sun, he will say that surely you've noticed that this summer has been really hot, right? Well, the past couple of days it's been so bad that people are straight up dying during the daytime because it's too hot. The sun looks like it's about to explode or something. If you ask about the so-called visitors, he will say that they call them that because they are visitors to the Earth's surface, maybe? He doesn't know. All he knows is that they are going around trying to get into people's houses. What they want to do in them is anyone's guess. So that's a problem. On top of either of those things, it seems that being alone is now very dangerous because of these visitors. You can just let him in, ask him about his family, or tell him that you're better off alone. If you let him in, it will just end the conversation and end the night. If you tell him that you're better off alone, he will strangely mention that he knows that you like to be alone. In fact, people like to call you the hermit. But right now, being alone is very dangerous. He's gonna stay with you tonight no matter what. If you ask about his family, he will say a family friend is staying with them so he can stay here tonight. No matter what you do, he will always stay with you to show you the tutorial. Go back to your room and go to sleep for the night. When you wake up, you will be greeted by a strange-looking man on the TV that will give you a bit of lore and help in spotting visitors. This will happen every single morning, so be sure to pay attention, because if you don't, you won't know what to look for. The first TV transmission will say that this morning, at 6:30, a powerful emission from the sun exploded. It was even bigger than scientists predicted. Temperatures outside have reached a critical level. The government has declared a state of emergency. People are not allowed outside during the daytime at all. After which, the TV will turn off. You can turn on the TV again after the message ends, and usually something interesting will be on it, but this time, on this first day, it doesn't really matter. It's just going to show you a bunch of ballerinas. In your room, you can find a window that your character will say, "I don't like to look out this window anymore." And if you examine the dresser next to the bed, he will say he refuses to sleep on that side of the bed anymore. Too many bad memories. So our main character has some secrets, obviously, which we'll get into. Leave your room and you can look around this main hallway freely now if you'd like to get acquainted with it. You can find a radio, which if you tune into each day, you can find a unique message that may or may not be useful. On the same desk, you can find some kombucha, which will save your game if you use it. This is the only way you can save, and you only get one per playthrough unless you get them through some special means. Down the hallway, you can find a landline phone, which you can use once you find some phone numbers. You can find some cigarettes, but you can't use them unless you find some throughout the playthrough as well. There's also a strange poster on the wall of a house in a valley with the words loneliness and isolation on it. You may also notice that there are windows all over as well, but your character will mention that you will go blind if you look through them during the day. So I guess the sun really is a problem here. Other than this, there are things you can find in the house that imply your main character had a wife and a father, but not anymore. A secret we will talk about later. To continue the actual game, what you need to do is to go to the kitchen and find your neighbor. Talk to him and he will say that, well, all of it seems to be true after all. The sun killing people. He then advises you once again to let people in your house. No matter what you say, he will tell you you need to do that. I will explain later why he is right. He will also explain your energy at the top left of your screen. You have a certain amount per day. When you let people in, make sure you check them for signs of being a visitor, because visitors look just like humans. But you have to listen to the TV every morning to figure out the signs of someone being a visitor and cross-reference the people in your house. Every test is one energy. If you have too much energy, you can crack open a cold one and it will take all of your energy away, allowing you to progress until nighttime. During the day, all you have to do is talk to people in your house and test them. Only at nighttime will people come to your door. After asking what you have to do after all of that, he will simply say that you have to survive. After that, he will give you his phone number to call him if you want to get his full story, which if you want it, you have to call him every day. All you have to do now is look in your fridge for a beer and drink it for the day. In this fridge, you can also find coffee and energy drinks if you find them throughout your playthrough, which will either replenish your energy or increase your amount of energy for a few days, respectively. But for now, just drink your beer and progress until nighttime. When you wake up at night, there will be another knock at the door. However, before you do that, you can look out your windows now. If you do that every night, you get a little bit about the world and how it's falling apart around you, but we'll leave it for now. Go and answer the door to find a little girl. She will say that she is your neighbor's daughter, and she is looking for him. There's a lot of strange people out tonight, she says. You can ask her questions and she will think you are testing her to see if she's a visitor, and she will call you smart for doing so. She will say that everyone is scared of visitors, but just give her dad back and the game can start for real. Let's talk about that. Every night, you will have 4 or 5 people come to your door. You have to choose to either let them in or tell them to leave your house. You can ask them a bit about themselves to decide whether you want to let them in or not. However, you cannot really figure out if they are visitors or not from these beginning talks. However, if you don't like a certain person's vibe or something, you can always turn people away. Some characters will always be visitors, so sometimes it's best to just turn them away unless they have something you need. Some people will also try to bribe you if you turn them away once, giving you useful items like energy drinks, coffee, cat food, or FEMA notices, which we will talk about soon. Choose who you want to let in, or don't. But you may ask why you would even want to let anyone in if there are visitors out there that can kill you. Well, there's a problem. 3, actually. I'm going to get ahead of myself a bit in the story, but for the sake of gameplay, I will explain, although the game itself never actually does. The first problem is the pale visitor. Every couple of nights, a very clearly visitor will come to your door's peephole, and he will give you trials, mostly making sure that you are not completely alone. If you are, or you only have visitors in your house, he will prematurely kill you, giving you a bad ending. You may ask, why wouldn't you just let a few people in and then never let anyone else in after one person and you know they're human? Well, that's where the second problem comes up. FEMA, which stands for the Federal Emergency Management Agency, which is a real American agency, by the way. But in this game, they will periodically come by to your house and take some of your residents and not give them back. So every once in a while, your numbers will be taken away from you with no way to prevent it. But then, there's a third problem. If you somehow let a visitor in the house, it will kill somebody every night, diminishing your numbers even more. This is a unique gameplay loop that makes you constantly put yourself in more danger by letting more people in. It's a resource management game, but the resources is people. If you let someone in who is a visitor, which is inevitable, you will have to test them. The TV will give you new tests every morning, so you will always have a way to do it. The way to figure out if it's a visitor or not are the following: perfectly white straight teeth, dirt under the nails, red eyes, hairless armpits, weird spots when photographed, and bugs in the ears. You might think that if someone just so happens to have really nice teeth or have dirt under their nails, is that grounds to just kill somebody because they're a visitor? How many of the signs do they have to show to definitely be a visitor? Well, it depends on the person. After we go over the endings, I will go over each of these 56 people and how to tell if each of them are a visitor or not. But if you're going in with no prior knowledge, it's sort of a guess at times. If they have these signs and a shit explanation, shoot them if you want. The game is designed to be hard to figure out if a person is a visitor or not. It's designed to sow discord, make you not trust your fellow man. The only way to tell is after you kill someone. If you killed a visitor, strange faces will flash on screen if you killed one. In addition to that, as you will quickly find out, if a human dies, whether that be to a visitor at night or by your own gun, trash bags will appear in the room that you killed them. If you killed the visitor, their bodies will stay there. No trash bags. Let's go over what happens if you don't do anything special at all throughout a full playthrough. On this first day, if you look out the windows at night, you will see pretty much nothing of note. It's silent other than a few teenagers without a care in the world. Maybe they think this will all blow over soon. After you give your neighbor his daughter back to go back home, more people will knock. This is where the real beginning of the game starts. However, on the first day, 2 people will visit you no matter what, although usually every person that visits you is randomized. The first two here will always come on day 1, and we will go over every single character in depth later in the video, as there is a lot of them. But this first day, a tall man will always be your first guest after your neighbor leaves. He will mention how he was at a bar down the road but got kicked out for being too abrasive. He says he never meant to harm anyone, he was just sort of an asshole. Life is shitty. He will ask if he can come in. Do so or don't, it's up to you. But small spoiler, just let this guy in. He is one of the few characters that can never be a visitor no matter what. He's kind of rude, but overall a good person. The second person is also a static person that will never change. It's a woman with a weird haircut and a hunch. She will say she's a cashier. She seems nervous and scared, but she's pretty kind. You can let her in or not. Once again, we will talk about her more later as she is important. After these two, however, every single person will be randomized. Let people in, don't let people in, it's up to you. But let's go over every single day in depth. I will let you know which days have static people and not, and what happens out the window in every day. There are 56 different people that can appear, and once again, I will tell you everything about each character after we go over the endings. But just so you know now, it's usually randomized. After all of these people for the first night are done, you can go to bed. If you let the wrong person in, during the night, a message will appear saying, "Smells like someone died tonight." This is your cue that you let a visitor in last night. You have to find that visitor within a couple of days. If you do not, you will have a strange dream. In this dream, you will play as some small being. You will go into every room and kill everybody but yourself. Whether that implies that you have become a visitor or not, well, that's up to you. But let's get back to day 2. On the TV in the morning, the reporter will tell you that both heat levels and crime levels are reaching new highs. Society's anxiety is rising due to the mistrust of their fellow man due to visitors. The studio then gets word of the first way to spot a visitor, because these visitors mimic humans. The sign they have received word of is perfectly white, straight teeth. After this broadcast is over, you can go test some of those people that you need to test and figure out what you need to do during the day. After you're done, go to bed. On night 2, you can look out the windows and see your neighbor playing a game with his daughter in the yard, trying to live a still somewhat normal life. But now at night. In the next window, you can find those teenagers from yesterday. And they're dead. Someone killed them. Why? Who knows? The third window, you will see one of your main antagonists, the Pale Visitor. There are strange folds in this man's skin, and he's way too tall to be human. He smiles widely, and it seems like he's wearing a skin suit almost. This is the main visitor, the one we talked about earlier that will make sure you're not alone or he'll kill you. We'll see him more later. On this night, nothing of note will happen other than randomized people coming to your door. After you're done, go to bed and get ready for day 3. On day 3, the TV will say that heat is still on the rise and visitor sightings are going up as well. Nothing is slowing down. So, the government has allowed FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, to take over and try to stop all of this. They can be identified by yellow hazmat suits and gas masks. They are such a help that they have discovered a new way to identify visitors. Dirt under the fingernails. Like they say, visitors come from underground, right? So when they dig themselves up, they get dirt in their nails. But that's it. Do what you need to do during the day, and go to sleep and wait for night 3. Wake up on night 3 and look out the first window to see a group of female employees near your neighbor's house. Your character will wonder what they are doing. The second window has 2 FEMA agents collecting the charred husks of those teenagers' bodies. Your character will say it's a good thing they're doing this, as who knows what diseases they have. The third window will show a bunch of armed soldiers that were dispatched to protect FEMA. Your character will wonder if they are hunting the Pale Visitor. Look outside your peephole tonight, and you will see him. The Pale Visitor himself. He looks odd, and when he smiles at you, he looks just like that artist's depiction of the Judge from Blood Meridian, as you can see here. It's very obviously inspired by this picture. But anyway, he will say, "Howdy! Spacious house you got here. I like it." Your character will tell him that he has a gun, and he will say, "Delicious! Despair gives courage to the coward, yes? So, you alone?" You can tell him you are, or if you truly are alone, he will kill you and give you a bad ending immediately, which we will get into after we go over a full playthrough. If you tell him you aren't alone, and you truly aren't, he will say, "It's your lucky day. He can hear someone whispering inside, but who knows where they will be in a couple days. He will leave after this and leave you to it. The next guest will be randomized, but the one after will be a bald man. He is strange. He will ask you to open to a random page of a book, and he will tell your future from that divination. This is related to an ending later, but for now, ignore him. We'll talk about him when we get to the endings. However, he will tell you after his divination that when the cat eyes meet yours, make sure to show them inside. This is important, even apart from his ending. Go back to bed for day 4. The TV in the morning will say that FEMA has taken new measures to address the visitor invasion. There are now quarantine zones set up to detain subjects. In doing so, they found a new visitor sign: blood red eyes. The visitors have increased photosensitivity, so their eyes are usually red. But that's it for day 4. Do whatever you need to do, go to bed. Night 4 is important. The first window that usually will show the neighbor's house will show that it's on fire. Hopefully he escaped, but your character will say that someone might have burned it down on purpose. What happened to your neighbor's family? The second window will show the pale visitor again. He's holding a head of a soldier, smiling. The soldier's face is frozen in fear. Your character isn't sure what the soldier was more scared of when he died, the pale visitor or his own death. The third window shows all of those soldiers from last night, and they're all dead. All of them. Did the pale visitor wipe out the entire platoon by itself? How dangerous is it? Look through the peephole and see a FEMA agent. The FEMA agent will say that FEMA is going around to all the cities collecting data for FEMA HQ. They are sure they can find a cure, as long as they have subjects. This FEMA agent says he's going to take one person, verify they are human, and let them go. At least that's what he says. He will take one of your guests at random and be on his way. Unless you gave a guest of yours a FEMA notice, an item you get from certain dialogue trees. If you give one of your guests a FEMA notice, they will always take that specific person when they take people. This is useful. If you want to make sure a certain guest stays alive for a certain ending or something, you can give these less important guests a FEMA notice. Either way though, he will take someone and leave. The second guest will be the girl from the tutorial night, your neighbor's daughter. She will be crying, saying her dad was killed somehow, but she's inconsolable. You can let her in or not, but she will never be a visitor, so you might as well let her in. The third person on this night will be a lanky woman that looks off. She looks very similar to the pale visitor, and your character will even note this, but she will have a cat. Listen, she is obviously a visitor, but trust me here. Like the bald man said 2 nights ago, you should let her in. You can kill her tomorrow if you want, but you need her cat. The only way to get the cat is to let her in too. It's worth it, trust me, even if you aren't going for that ending. After you let her in, you can go to bed and get ready for day 5. In the morning, the TV will say that due to extremely high visitor numbers, a full quarantine will be placed over all major cities. Traveling outside the zone is prohibited. In addition, they have found a new sign of a visitor: hairless armpits. I guess Toph is safe. This day is like any other, but now the cat is here, if you brought him in. If you have cat food, you can give the cat some cat food and no one will die that night, no matter what. The game says it's because the cat shares one of its 9 lives with you. It's a get out of jail free card. You also should probably kill that tall lady. If you don't though, you can get an achievement if you keep her alive a while, and shoot her after she dances for you. Also, if you let her in, there is now a trap door underneath the carpet in the hallway. Going downstairs, you can find a cellar with some dirt floors. Lots of food down there as well. This is a useless room, unless you go for a certain ending, which we will talk about later. Whatever you do though, just get ready for night 5. Out the first window on night 5, you can see your neighbor's house in ruins. Weird aurora borealis is in the sky as well now. Your character will strangely say, and I quote, "Somehow, I knew death was coming to that house." The second window will show you that guy's head from last night, but it's now on a stick, as if a warning. The third window will be a bunch of FEMA agents inspecting the massacre of soldiers from the previous night. They are collecting samples and taking their weapons to prevent looting. Strangely, your character will then say, FEMA probably didn't expect the soldiers to survive against that pale visitor anyway. They planned for them to all die. Look through the peephole, and your first guest will be another FEMA agent. He will say they're taking another person to the quarantine zone. You can ask what happened to the first person they took, and they will say they're still testing them. But they need another person to help humanity. You have no choice but to give him somebody else. As a recompense, however, he will give you a free FEMA notice for next time to choose who you want to go. Your next guest will once again be the pale visitor. He will ask, what do you think about that guy in the suit? Whatever you answer, he will say, times are tough. Maybe the suits will restore order. But chaos is all over now. Or maybe we should take things into our own hands, he says. Say whatever you want, but he will then actually say, no one can do anything. It's like a natural disaster, or a cosmic calamity, or death itself. He then will get it to what he's really here for. He will say, so, you alone? Obviously, tell him you're not, but the test is the same. If you get it right, he will say, you're still scrambling to survive in this new world. Why? Dogs rule the world now, and only dogs survive here. You understand what I mean, yes? Things will never go back to the way they were. Life changed. You're falling out of rhythm. He will then say that he has a game for you the next time you meet. He will then leave. Next will be the bald man again, and once again this has to do with his ending, so we'll just leave it here for now. You will then get 2 random people that night. But that's it for night 5. Go back to sleep. On day 6, the TV will say there are wildfires now sweeping across the nation. This is obviously due to high solar activity. In addition, it doesn't seem to be slowing down either. And visitors continue to terrorize the nation. On the bright side though, FEMA has found a new way to identify visitors. Aura film photography. Dark patches that will show up on photos taken of a person's aura. By the way, no idea why in this game we have the technology to take pictures of people's literal aura when we don't even have cell phones, but just go with it. Do the same thing you always do on day 6 though. Finish, go to bed, and get ready for night 6. Notably, this night has a different music track. The first window on night 6 will show a woman crying over her wounded or dead husband near your neighbor's house. Your character says things will only get worse. The second window shows something interesting though. The path is littered with bodies of those who tried to run. Next to them is the person who killed them all. A FEMA agent. He has a gun with smoke coming out of the barrel. Maybe these FEMA guys aren't as benevolent as we once thought. The third window shows a bunch of refugees trying to get into houses, just trying to survive. No one lets them in though. Looking out the peephole will show the city on fire in front of you. You will get an achievement, the beginning of the end. No one will come tonight other than an old man who speaks nonsense, but he has to do with a different ending later, so just ignore him for now. Go to bed for day 7. Day 7 is normal. The TV in the morning starts with an announcement from FEMA that says to stay in your homes no matter what and await further instructions. The TV also says to, and I quote, join FEMA and join the fight against the visitors. Do whatever you need to do for this day, go to bed, and get ready for the night. Night 7 shows the introduction of my favorite character, but we will get to him. The first window shows a group of refugees standing outside your neighbor's home. They seem to want to take shelter in your neighbor's basement. Outside the second window shows my favorite character, a man with an assault rifle who looks completely insane. His jacket covered in dismembered teeth, eyes, and fingers. Your character will say that he thinks that they are trophies to this man, not from killing in defense, but for sport. He hopes that this man is not an enemy. The third window shows a man hung from a telephone pole. He has a sign that says, "You took everything from me." Your character will wonder if the sign is meant for FEMA or the visitors. Things are going to shit fast. This night has all random guests come to your door except one, the burned man. Joshua Graham here will always come this night, and you might as well let him in, as he will never be a visitor. He will tell you that he used to be a firefighter and got caught in the sun this morning. He is the only surviving member of his group of firefighters. Like I said, he cannot be a visitor, so you might as well let him in. And he will always give you a free FEMA notice as well if you do. After no one else comes to your door, go to bed and get ready for night 8. Day 8 is strange. It starts like normal with a TV broadcast, and the main reporter will say that quarantine zones are under attack from an armed individual. But then the broadcast will seemingly be hijacked, and a woman news anchor will replace the normal one. She will speak in riddles, saying, "Silence is the harbinger of death. A sinister quiet drains the soul. But worse than emptiness is the ringing. A distant funeral knell growing ever louder. The bell tolls for us all, filling our ears with endless din. Filthy thoughts caught in webs of wax. An infernal nest where visitors thrive, tangled deep in sticky sustenance. Cerumen inudans. Cerumen inudans. Cerumen inudans." During this interruption, a glitched picture of bugs form in someone's ears, and then the interruption will end and return to normal. This will give you a new test that works on no one, visitor or otherwise, looking for bugs in the ears. No one will have this trait. And seemingly, this makes no sense why this is in the game, and I genuinely don't know what it's about. Do what you need to do for this day, and get ready for Night 8. On Night 8, the first window will show that the people outside of your neighbor's house have taken shelter in his cellar. A small pocket of safety. But how long can it last? The second window shows wild dogs roaming. They seem dangerous. Above this window now is those weird Aurora Borealis lights again. The third window shows a bunch of FEMA agents moving refugees from their quarantine camps into the houses. Going to the peephole will grant you with, yet again, another FEMA agent. He will say they require more test subjects. You can ask, where did they take the ones that they took? And he will get angry, saying that asking questions will not help them, it will only make the visitors multiply. This time, they need 2 people. Once again, you have no choice. The second guest after him is a weird man who looks like Frankenstein in these weird robes. He will say that, yes, he can feel it. In this house, death has touched it. Strangely, even if no one has died in this house, he will still say this. Perhaps a secret we will touch on later. He will then say that her presence is strong here. He says that he is the harbinger of a new faith, the orators of a hollow doctrine. Death hath come only because she wishes to soothe humanity, to free us from our chaos, bitterness, and bedlam. He says he has 3 brothers with him that need shelter for a few nights. Keep them alive, and something good may happen. They will conduct rites for the departed as they stay there. No matter what you do or say to him, he will give you a free 3 people that will never be visitors. So that's cool, I guess. It will also be important for an ending later on. But otherwise, it's 3 free people. The next guest is my favorite character in the game. The Hunter, or the Psycho, or the Vigilante. He has a different name depending on who you ask. He will have an AK-47 and a necklace of fingers, and he says that he's happier keeping your distance and not opening the door. It helps your survival chances. Unless you're a visitor. This is your neighbor's brother. He won't say that yet, but just know that it is. He is going around and massacring visitors, or people he perceives as visitors. You can ask if that necklace makes him visitor-proof. He will laugh and say, that's good. No, I take a piece of each visitor I kill. Something bigger if they make an impression on me. He will ask if anything bad has happened around here. You have 3 options. If you say a pale visitor is killing everybody, he will be worried and says he trusts you, and he'll go look for it and leave. If you say visitors have tried to get into your house, but you have a gun, he will say, gun won't stop him, but good on you for killing the monsters. And if you say FEMA is stealing people, he will be suspicious of you, because FEMA are the only good guys left. No matter what, though, he will leave. Next time, though, he's gonna test you. You will then get 1 randomized person that night. Go to bed, and get ready for day 9. In the morning, the TV will say that FEMA is assisting the victims of the quarantine zone attack. There is overcrowding in these quarantine zones, and they will be temporarily housing people from the quarantine zones on the outskirts of the city. However, a new identifier has been shown for visitors. Bleeding gums. Other than that, go on to night 9. On night 9, the first window will show a man holding survivors at gunpoint. This could be the vigilante or not, but it doesn't really matter. These people outside this window will not survive this night. The second window just shows a FEMA agent near a bunch of dead dogs, jotting something down on a tablet. The final window will show a group of FEMA agents looking at the dead body hanging from the telephone pole. Looking through the peephole, you will see one random person and then the pale visitor again. Tonight is a bit different for him. He'll say, "Ooh, you feel that? Change is haunting you. And now one of your ilk is deathless. All because of a word. One single word. But what a word it is. You know who I mean, yes? Strange things happen around you. He will then ask if you even care anymore. And whatever you say, he will just say, he has a game to fix everything. Not only can you not be alone tonight, but if you have 2 or more visitors currently in your house, he'll come in anyway. So I hope you weren't just letting people in willy-nilly and not testing them. Because if you did, bad ending. Succeed and he will say, change isn't the worst thing coming for you. There are far greater things out there. I simply follow orders. So that's cryptic, but it seems to imply that this pale visitor isn't the leader of the visitors like it might seem. Or at the very least, he answers to someone. Or something. The rest of the night will proceed as normal. On day 10, the TV will say that the city is gradually stabilizing. However, stray dogs have begun to roam the streets. FEMA has figured out a new sign of the visitors, however. Skin irritation near the hands. It will also give a FEMA helpline if you need it. However, if you have been listening to the radio at all, you would have already found this phone number a long time ago. But you get this phone number no matter what if you didn't have it before now. For night 10, the first window will show dogs eating corpses of the people that the vigilante killed yesterday, with your character saying, "The madness of this world has gone too far." The second window will show, strangely, a bunch of funeral pyres and people strapping themselves to them. Notably, the death cultists. Perhaps even the ones that are staying in your own house. They seem to be killing themselves and offering themselves up to the sun or death itself or something. The third window shows the vigilante again, but this time with a Molotov cocktail and a gas can in hand, walking towards the other houses in the neighborhood. Seems he wants to kill anyone and everyone who has been in a quarantine zone. He was more than likely the one who led the attack against the one in the city as well, killing anybody who even may be a visitor. Look through the peephole and see the penultimate time a FEMA member will come to your door. This time, they've stopped being nice. The member says they need more people. It's the only way to avoid a catastrophe. Question him at all, and he will tell you to shut the fuck up or he'll take everybody in this house. He'll take 2 more people. He says you should be grateful he isn't taking all of the people in this damned house. After he takes his 2, he will leave. The death cultist leader will come back on this night and be happy if you kept his 3 people alive, and pissed off if you did not. But once again, that is for an ending that we will get into later. After him, the vigilante will show back up. He will say he tried looking for the lead you gave him, but no luck. You can ask him how he spots a visitor, and he'll say, well, probably the same way you do. The TV or the radio tells him how. One sign is enough to put him down, he says. Strangely, he will then say that he is the brother of the neighbor. He will ask what happened to his brother and his daughter and his wife. Actually, well, fuck the wife, he says. He'll just scoff at whatever you say, and then he will say, show me you're not one of them. This is a very cool thing in the game. Depending on what you have done in this playthrough, you can be killed here if you show him the wrong sign. You can either show him your teeth, your hands, your eyes, your armpits, your aura photo, or your ears. I'm going to tell you how to be safe from him every time. Let's start with teeth. If you show him your teeth, and you have never smoked a cigarette this playthrough, it will result in a bad ending. However, if you did smoke, your teeth will be yellow, and you will be clear from him. If you show him your hands, and you've been digging around in your basement for one of the 2 endings that we will get into, it will lead to a bad ending. If you haven't ever even been in the basement at all, it will clear you. Or your eyes. If you have drank coffee or an energy drink in the past 2 days or nights, it will make your eyes red, and it will give you a bad ending. If you haven't, you're clear. For your pits, it's weird. If you have checked your pits yourself at all throughout your playthrough at the mirror in your bathroom, your character will find a fungus growing there and wash it off. If you have done that, you're in the clear. If you haven't, it will result in a bad ending. The photo one is weird because, at least with all of the research I've done, it seems it's random if the photo works or not. No one knows how this test fails or passes. Finally, the ears. If you try to show him your ears, he will be confused and say, "That's not a sign FEMA has told us about," and it will instantly fail you and lead to a bad ending, leading to more confusion and secrets about that ear test. But you only have to pass one of these tonight, so just choose the one that you know you've done and it'll be fine. After which he says, "Yeah, he figured you were fine, but next time he'll check you more thoroughly," and then he'll leave. After which you can go to bed and start day 11. The TV in the morning will say that the situation in the city is still unstable, and lockdown still remains in effect. However, a new threat of death cultists in the outskirts of the city has emerged, so watch out for them. They seem to be starting a ritual which involves open flames. FEMA thinks that these guys had something to do with the attack on the quarantine zone. But a new sign has been shown through though. Fungal growth under the clothes. That's all for now. And that's all for day 11, so prepare for night 11. Night 11 is nothing consequential other than the final visit of the Pale Visitor. He will ask if you let any of his kind in, which you get 6 options, all of which seem to get the same result, and I don't know why there's so many answers. No matter what you say, he'll say, "Ooh, why so tense? What's left that even matters?" And then for the final time, he will ask if you are alone. If you are not alone, you are safe from him for the rest of the playthrough. A couple people afterwards will come to the door like normal, but they are all random. Just go to bed. Day 12 starts with a TV broadcast saying that disasters around the world seem to be worsening. Glaciers melting, sea levels rising, coastal areas are at risk of severe flooding at that. Acid rain will soon fall as well all over the world. If you hear thunder, it's best to seek immediate shelter. Another new sign of the visitors is rapid pupil movement. But as they say this, they say their studio is under attack. End of broadcast. Which is weird. But whatever you do this day, just get ready for night 12. On night 12, the first window will show nothing remaining of any bodies near your neighbor's house. Nothing at all. Something ate the bodies. Your character will say, if prayers mean anything, the creature that ate them will stay in the shadows. You fear your mind will not survive seeing such a monster. The second window is one of the biggest mysteries in the game to me on this night, however. There will be 2 FEMA officers, but who cares about that? Because something strange slumps around for a split second behind them. It's hard to see, and when you see this creature that is only in this window on this night, you get an achievement called "What Was That?" with the description, "Witness horrors beyond your comprehension." And before I tell you what this thing is later, this just seems like something horrifying that is never talked about again. It doesn't tie into any ending as far as I know, and it is a complete mystery pretty much. But if you know where to look, it does make sense, and we'll get into that later. But this is the scariest thing in the game to me, because it jump scared the shit out of me, despite it not even making a noise. At the final window, you will see that every house around yours is burned to the ground. Your character will say that he guesses the vigilante burned everything and everyone down. Whatever he's up to, it will happen to you next. And sure enough, when you look through the peephole, the vigilante is there for the third and final time. He will say that maybe if his brother wasn't so gutless, he could have saved himself and his family. But I have no pity for my brother. I even told him to man up and look out for his family, but he didn't do it. Now they're all dead. Who knows where his daughter even is? He says that the world ended up ruined like this because of cowards and weak men like his brother. He will then pause and say, he saw a family a while back with a stocky dad who held it together even when the visitors were banging on his windows. He got his family out of the house and then killed all the visitors to save that family. But they never came back. He saw their child a few days later, with a shotgun in her hands, her eyes wild, but alive. He has respect for that family and that little girl especially. He says maybe if his own brother died sooner, his family could have lived. He says that's enough though. He has to test you again. And you have to go through that whole thing again I mentioned last time. Just show him something different this time and he'll say, okay. You won't see him again. And he'll leave. He will leave you with the words, enjoy what's left. The rest of the night will proceed as normal. Get through it, and you're almost home free. The next morning, the TV will strangely say that FEMA has arrested all government officials, saying that they were all visitors. With no government now, FEMA has decided to assume the role of the interim government. However, fugitives have broken through the citywide lockdown, and people should barricade their doors and windows and find a place to hide. Do whatever you need to do for your final day, and get ready for your final night. On night 13,
You cannot look out any of the windows for some reason, and no one will come to your door. You can do nothing but go back to sleep. The next morning you will wake up and your character will say that you have to board up your windows. Things are only going to get worse from here. There is no TV broadcast this morning, and all you have to do to complete the game is board up your windows. That's it. You beat the game, and you will get one of two of the main endings. So I figure we should now talk about all the endings. Despite what I just said, there are 10 different endings, only 2 of which you will play through the whole 14 days like that though. All the others will end prematurely. So let's talk about those endings now, shall we? Like I said, there is in fact 10 endings, and we will go through them all, as they are numbered 1 through 10. Ending 2 and 3 are the 2 main endings that we just described that you need to play through every day. If you did everything right, and by the end you have 0 visitors in your house, all humans, you will get ending 2. It is the most obvious ending that can happen, and what I'm going to do now for every ending is I'm going to tell you how to get them, and then show you the cutscene and narrate it. And afterwards I will explain the ending and what happened in it. So here's the first one, or the second one, I guess. If you did everything right, and had no visitors at all by the end of day 14, you will get ending 2, called The End? This is what it looks like. You make your way down into the cellar with the other survivors. It's cooler down here, but the air still feels heavy with unease. If you ration carefully, your food stores should last for a month or 2. You seal the door. No one is able to get in now. You keep track of the days by marking the cellar wall. Waiting for the end drags on nearly 2 months. Some hope the sun will finally burn the ground to ash or fade into darkness. Others seek the end on their own terms. Dragging out the inevitable is more painful than a swift end. No one envies the living. One day, you catch an announcement on the radio. Solar activity's fading. Scientists predict that in a couple of days, it will be safe to go outside during the daylight hours in a few days' time. You feel disappointment? You realize you'll live through this year after all. But then what? Will next summer be the last? The thought of waiting for the end is a suffocating burden. At least one of the others seems happy. Who knows? Maybe there's still a decade left ahead of you. So, there you go. Happy ending, sort of. The world heals. But why would your character feel disappointed, though? Well, as you will find out through some of the stuff in your game, your character, whom a lot of people called the Hermit, sort of hates the world the way it was. Maybe in a way, he liked this whole end of the world thing. He had a purpose, and it wasn't boring. He was needed by someone. But you can honestly make any assumptions you want about this one. But we'll get into it more in the analysis. Okay, let's get into ending 3, which is simple as getting to the end of day 14 like normal, but you have to have at least one visitor hiding amongst your numbers when the windows are finally boarded up. This will trigger ending 3. It might seem very similar to ending 2 at the beginning, but as you will see, it is very different. It is called, No, I'm Not Alone. Together with the survivors, you make your way down into the cellar. It's cooler down here, but the air still feels heavy with unease. If you ration carefully, your food stores should last for a month or 2. You seal the door. No one will be able to get in now. You keep track of the days by marking the cellar wall. The wait for the end drags on for nearly 2 months. The sun isn't the only threat looming overhead. Trust fades. Paranoia grows sharper by the day. You feel the stares. Cold, calculating, alien. The fear of death has paralyzed you. It's about to end. Escape doesn't even cross your mind. There's nowhere left to run. Terror blinds you. It wasn't just humans you let into your home. They tear you apart. Darkness floods your vision. Pain sears through your body. A small, lonely house takes shape in your mind. You hope it will be over soon. It's hard to hold on. The pain fades as you slip further away. Welcome me. So obviously, in this ending, you die. You accidentally finish the game with a visitor in your group of survivors, and they will kill you. However, something strange comes up in this ending. That house. Why would that come into your vision after you die? And for that matter, it looks a lot like the poster you have in your house that says loneliness and isolation. How strange. You'll have to venture into other endings to find our answers though, so let's do that. Ending 4 took me a weirdly long time to get. The way to get it, in concept, is easy, but so much shit can go wrong that it will mess it up. Do you remember the weird cultist that gives you the 3 free guys during night 8? Well, when he gets there the first time, he will say that he needs you to shepherd his people. And if you manage for 3 nights with none of them getting taken by FEMA, dying, or being killed by a visitor, he will come back and say this. Thank you for all you've done. I'm sure you are tired too, of all the noise. These oppressive times, the confusion. Death spoke to me not long ago. She hopes to meet you when the time comes. She may offer you a place to hide from everything, even from the end itself. I'm not sure myself what that means yet, but it does sound tempting. Yes. He will then leave and give you a night to think about it. He will return the night after and say, "Rejoice that you have joined us, brother." Truly, death did not choose you in vain. Today, brothers, we find our salvation. First, we shall attend our preparations. Then, we wait. Behold, the infernal luminescence dulls. The time of violence has passed, and we usher in a new age of tranquility. The time for worry is over. My flock will starve, suffering of its feed. We will give names to the dead, so that we will know that their death was not in vain. They will be taken, just like us. That is how we shrouded a loon. That is his name now. We too will receive names. This is it. The time has come. Brothers, let us call upon her. We are ready. After which, the ending will play, and it will say this. Fear and corruption of her word kept us from her embrace. Not to pass into nothingness, but to return into death. We surrender our bodies unto death's embrace, to find peace in what lies beyond. Long ago this knowledge dwelled upon the earth, but the great extinction claimed more than lives alone. But now, we walk the path in the ways of the old. She shall cradle us all. None shall be forsaken. Even death herself shall ascend. Do you feel it? She's here. A voice echoes in the air, its owner unclear. You appeared from nowhere, drawing eyes upon yourself. We must act now. Some doors are best left closed. Come, I will hide you. I shall return you to where you were always meant to be. I will grant you peace. Just as humanity has always longed for. You were never meant to survive the madness of the cosmos. I will preserve your memory.
This one is a little more esoteric. It would appear that this ending is the embodiment of the old painting of La Danse Macabre. As in, no matter what, in death, we are all equal. These cultists seem to worship the concept of death as humanity has become too separated. It needs to be all returned to death. All will be one once again. It seems that in this ending, the cultists succeed in having everyone on Earth die, or at least their entire sect die. And then once again, everyone is equal in death. Humans were never meant to survive forever in the universe, but the Earth shall preserve our legacy. I believe that is what happens. But then the end. The house appears again. What does the house mean? We will continue. Ending 5 is pretty interesting, and it involves being as compliant as possible to FEMA, no matter what. The name of it is Welcome to FEMA, and it involves you, well, joining FEMA. The way to do so is simple. First things first, you need to find the FEMA helpline from looking at the TV on day 2 after the mandatory news segment at the beginning of the day. You will then need to call the helpline with the phone at least 3 times and ask about the signs. After this, you will need to give a FEMA notice to at least 2 people during your playthrough. And then finally, whenever a FEMA agent comes to your door, never choose a dialogue option that seems combative to the ideas of FEMA. After you do all of this, an extra encounter with the FEMA agent will appear. He will say to you, "Hello. Your contribution to emergency response efforts has been noted. We need people like you. Join us. You're resourceful, proactive. That's exactly what we need. Recruits help us spot what we might miss ourselves. And right now, we need new people. Good. Take only what's essential. Housing will be provided. There's no point coming back here. Not anytime soon, at least. We are waiting for you." Even if you try to deny this FEMA agent, he will take you away anyway, giving you ending 5. You feel disoriented. Is this how FEMA usually recruits people? This is a big organization. You'll probably have to deal with a lot of people. There's no telling when they'll let you go home. Sounds like you'll be working long shifts. How dangerous is this job anyway? Whisking people away and hiring them on the spot. It's so strange. Is the turnover really that bad? Why else would they recruit so aggressively? It's not even clear what the work will be. Escorting people to quarantine zones? And then what? You don't know what's become of your home, nor what happened to those who lived with you. You get the feeling you won't ever be going back to your old life. From the briefings, it becomes clear that this job wasn't designed with long-term survival in mind. Your only regret? is not bringing the poster with you. This one seems self-explanatory. You join FEMA, and it seems the job is very dangerous. So much so that the character thinks that the turnover rate is so bad that they need to recruit aggressively like this. However, this ending feels more telling than it seems, only because the very last comment, "Your only regret is not bringing the poster with you." Is this implying the poster of the house that says loneliness and isolation? Or is there a FEMA poster that I missed? But I believe it is talking about the house poster. It involves the house once again. What is the meaning of it? Let's continue. The next ending is the one that I got the most. It's very easy to accidentally get. Ending 6 is called Yes, I Am Alone, and it's the easiest one to get. Whenever the pale visitor comes to your door, either be alone or just tell him you're alone. He will break into your house and do this. And after that, the ending will play. Even days later, the house remains empty. Everyone avoids it like a dark omen. More rumors swirl in the numbers who ever called it home. The house, just like the final traces of its owner, has been lost to time. No relatives ever came to collect what was left behind. The homeowner simply vanished, as if they never existed at all. Everything that belonged to them is lost, worn away, or forgotten. Why do people disappear so completely? Once death finds you, the proof you ever existed begins to fade almost immediately. Belongings, creations, thoughts, memories, emotions, all dissolve into the void. There is no more you, only nothingness, as if you were never part of this world to begin with. This one is fairly self-explanatory as well. The pale visitor took you, or killed you. You were never seen again. You had no family, no friends, nothing. You were a hermit. It's a scary thought about how once you're dead and no one remembers you, did you even exist? That is the most terrifying thought to me, being completely forgotten. And it ties into my theory at the end of this video. So let's go on to ending 7. Ending 7 is fairly easy to get, and you may even stumble upon it by accident. All you have to do is kill a ton of innocents. The best way to do it is just get a ton of people in your house, test everybody, and shoot them, no matter what. Another way that the wiki says to do is to wait until the 3 cultists come to your house and then just kill them all. They will never be visitors, so that's an easy way to do it. After you get enough kills on humans, by the way, not visitors, the bald man who came early in the game will come to your door and tell you, something strange is happening here. Did you do something? Something follows you. A trail of darkness in your wake. This isn't how it was meant to go. Being afraid to die, trying to survive, well, that's only natural. But you wandered from the path. In your fear, you've only brought death closer. I don't think I can fix this. I'm sorry. After he says this, the game will prematurely end and you will get this ending cutscene. Dying is terrifying. I know that well. The dread alone can drive you mad. It pushes you towards terrible choices. I can see the plans they had laid out for you. Yet seeing what lay ahead made things only worse.
What was it that scared you so? Pain? Fading away? You can't stop it. Sooner or later. But you chose sooner. I'm truly sorry. They threw you out into the street. Unarmed, bloodied. You had no strength left to crawl away from the sunlight. No way to end the suffering on your own terms. You'll burn slowly. And there's no one left to blame. Unless... This ending is pretty sad. This one implies that our character got so scared of the visitors and the people that they killed a ton of innocents in fear. Then, after they realize, he tries to kill himself. Before he can pull the trigger, though, the rest of the guests all revolt and grab him, beat him, and throw him into the morning sun. No one left to blame but himself. Fear drove our main character to murder. This ending is called, Yes, I'm a Murderer. Okay. Let's get into ending 8, which in my opinion is the third hardest to get. Okay, this ending is very hard to get if you do not know what you are doing. It is also by far the strangest ending. It is called Shroom or Doom. The way to start this ending is to get to night 4 and then let the cat lady in the house. This is the only way to open up the basement, and it will allow the mushroom man to appear on your door on night 6. He will say, "Well, hello there, dear boy. I'm an old coot who knows a thing or two about mushrooms. The mycelium told me something very troubling. Oh yes, the Mushroom Festival is upon us. And time, my dear boy, is slipping through our fingers. So listen carefully and heed my words well. The mushrooms speak in their own strange way. Mycelium is how the mushrooms talk to each other. I learned to hear them by studying the Book of Smiles. But what they told me last, well, let's say it's not good. They spoke of the Mushroom Festival drawing near, and that, my dear boy, is no good at all. No. We must consult the Book of Smiles. A great mushroom shall rise and scatter its spores far and wide. Its shadows shall spread and swallow the sun, and not a single place will be spared the fun. But this mushroom shall not rise alone, for it's a festival, it is known. We must stop it together, my dear boy. I tore some pages from the Book of Smiles. Please take them. They'll tell you what to do." This strange old man comes from nowhere and tells you to read the Book of Smiles. To do this, go back to your room and read the riddles. Listen, I'm not going to read the whole page of the Book of Smiles, and I'm just going to tell you what to do. The day after you read it, go downstairs to the cellar. And this time in the dirt, there will be a mushroom. Dig it out. After you do so, go to the refrigerator and put it in there, and then immediately eat it. Then go to bed. The next day, there is an apple in the hall near the frog toy. Click it and you will immediately eat it. After that, go to sleep again. Finally, when you wake up on the third day, a strange clock will appear in your room. Set it to midnight. After you do these 3 tasks, the mushroom man will reappear and say, "There you are again, my dear boy. I'm glad to see you did everything in the Book of Smiles. I hope it was enough to stop the festival. The mycelium told me. It knows many things. But now, it too is in danger, just like the rest of us. The mushrooms have been growing far too fast. We performed an old ritual, my dear boy. We can't speak to the mushrooms directly, no. We are not a part of the mycelium. But the Book of Smiles showed us a way to calm their roots and restless growth. And that is just what we did," he says. And then he says he'll be back. All you have to do after this is wait one more night for him to come back. He will come back and say that we failed. The festival is coming after all. There's too much chaos and the ritual didn't work. There's too much malice and it clogs everything up in the mycelium. The mushrooms are like a liver. trying to purge the body of poison. But the body is the planet, and the mushrooms are purging evil. Recently, because of the whole sun and visitor problems, the mushrooms have grown beyond all bounds. There's no time. They have to journey to Mushroom Land. No human should ever step foot there, however. But you have to go to Mushroom Land to stop the festival with this old man. You have to go before the gate closes. Then after all of that said and done, you will have the ending. Mushrooms are something else, you know. Oh-ho. They can grow very fast when things go bad. They can grow up, up, up as fast as a beanstalk, right before your very eyes. Makes you wonder what will become of them once the clock strikes midnight. And the bigger the mushroom, the more clumps of malice gather in the mycelium. Why, the cat could cover the whole earth until there's nothing left. Now, dear boy, the mycelium must find a way to unleash all that rage. Fiddlesticks. Our ritual was supposed to calm it down. The apple seeds were meant to remind it of its bond between humans and mushrooms. But it seems the mycelium's gone cuckoo now, blinded by the fury trapped within its threads. Mushroom Land is out there somewhere. Quickly, my dear boy, we have to stop the mycelium before the mushroom grows too large. Follow me, lickety-split! Underground we go! Fiddlesticks. Looks like we were too late, my dear boy. Well, alright then. Say, you got any kombucha? So this ending is pretty much a joke ending, right? Well, probably. But there's a lot of weird mushroom stuff in this game. For instance, remember when we mentioned how if you look at your armpits in the mirror to check yourself, there's a weird fungal growth under your armpits? Then there's also kombucha, which also somewhat has to do with mushrooms and decay. I could easily dismiss this as nothing, but I feel like this has something to do with the idea of death. Mushrooms sort of represent death, in a way, and the cycle of life, or something. But maybe I'm grasping at straws with that. We'll talk more about this in the analysis. But for now, we'll just take it at face value and say this ending means a giant mushroom grew in the city. Let's go to ending 9. Ending 9 is probably my favorite ending, and it is the second hardest one to get. In addition to that, it is also one of the most cryptic endings. It's also very hard. It also requires a lot of things to go right. It involves, first of all, listening to the bald man that we mentioned in the original 14 days part of the video. He will first come on the third night. The first thing he will ask you to do is open a book to a random page. Depending on what you say, he will give you a divination. It's important to listen to what he says. If you tell him to open to a page in the beginning, the bald man will say, "The dead will soon speak," but no one will listen. If you tell him to open to the middle of the book, the page will say, "Me? I am I. You? You were home." If you tell him to open to the end of the book, he will read, "It was so long ago. Perhaps it was a dream. Maybe you, I, and the fish only exist in the memory of a person who is long gone. Maybe no one really exists, and it's only raining outside." You can try to understand these divinations, but I really don't understand them. Tell me in the comments if you get these. But after that, he will tell you that he has a premonition. He will say, "When the cat's eyes meet yours, make sure to show them inside." This gives us a clue to our first thing we have to do for this ending. It is obviously telling us to let the visitor in with the cat. This will open up the basement after you get it. You can do nothing with this yet, but just know you did it right when he comes back on the 5th night. On that night, he will tell you the next step. He will say, do not test anyone for 2 days after this night. As hard as it is, do that. Do not test anybody in your house for 2 days. This includes yourself. This makes it quite dangerous to do, as technically you cannot kill anyone then, with a few exceptions. After the 2 days are up, the bald man will return. On the 9th night, he will return, and he will say, everything used to be so clear, but now it's all foggy. The only advice he can give is, in your basement, there's something beneath the soil, but don't jump just yet. He will then leave like normal. All you have to do is use 3 whole sets of energy to dig in the dirt in your basement. Once you do this, you will notice that there is a whole tunnel system down there. Walk through the labyrinth to find a hole with a man behind it somehow. This man will just say to stay away from the hole, whatever that means, as there is no hole in this labyrinth yet. After which, the bald man will return for the final time on the 12th night. He will say, my vision is fading. I can hardly remember your face. Has she left me? The only thing I can tell you is jump. Jump right in. I don't know if that thought is for me or for you. He will then leave. Well, and there's only one thing left to do. Go back to the labyrinth. This time, there will be a hole in the ground. Do a James Sunderland and jump in. After which, you might assume that this puts you right into the ending, but it doesn't. It shows you the weirdest and most cryptic part of the entire game. You will be on a big blue ocean with the Aurora Borealis right above you and a glowing cloud floating in the distance. Walk up to it and you will see its name is simply Death. Talk to Death and she will say, if only those frozen hands could love me. Could you imagine that? Congratulations. You emerge into an odd space. A hallway stretches before you with a desk at the end. In these sorrowful lands, everything is geared for winter. Thick walls, thick coats, thick dreams. How lovely that this long night is coming to an end. Daylight is near. Shall I keep a hold of your shadow? I can see you want me to. You have no reason to fear. There's nothing left to be afraid of. The road twisted into a slippery knot and then broke apart. If you ask if you are dead, Death will respond, what does it truly mean to be dead? Maybe you simply fell asleep and we have found each other within a dream. We are alike in that way. I am the unwanted sibling, the outcast in the family of humanity. No need to fear. I am the inventor of time. Nothing here can hurt you. Take solace in the dark. There is no masked man, nor anyone else. They are but shadows cast on my walls. I see you already. I will take you into the night, where the pine trees reach up to the stars. After this, you will be transported to a beautiful green landscape with nothing but that house. Once again, in the middle of nothingness. Death will continue talking as you walk towards the house, saying, this is what you wanted, where you were meant to be. Yet these short roads will soon stretch strangely wide, long, dusty, and strewn with compromises. Enjoy. All you can do is walk to the house. There is no secrets here. And you can ask any question when you get to the door, or say you are scared, but no one will respond. You are alone. Truly alone. Finish the dialogue and get ending 9, which will read, day and night mean nothing here. I don't know how long I've been here. But now, I feel very calm. It's so very still. There's nothing more to hinder you here. I hear no footsteps, no voices. I feel nothing. I don't remember how I got here. And I don't know how to leave. but I don't really want. I just hope this lasts a little longer. I wonder what it all meant. Why was I allowed in?
Will someone come for me?
I wish I could meet them again. But that can wait. I'm tired. I'll just rest a while. The achievement you get for this ending is called Embracing the Inevitable. What I think happens here tells us a lot about the house imagery we keep getting. The poster is shown at the beginning of this ending. I believe the house represents what happens after death. It's a metaphor. Not a literal house, but it's home. What humans were meant to return to after death. You even straight up meet death in this ending. I believe that in this ending, you are trying to find a meaning to all the suffering in the world. You figuratively and literally dig deeper in this ending, trying to follow some sort of prophecy, trying to find a meaning in it all, when all it is to live. Be human. At the end, you will return home. I believe that every time the poster is mentioned, it is a metaphor for death or what happens after death. Go back to whenever I mentioned that poster in an ending before this one. You will see it fits quite well for all of them. But we will continue this more in the analysis. But anyway, let's get to the last two endings, starting with ending 10. Ending 10 is very easy to get. All you have to do is fail a test when given by the vigilante on days 8, 10, or 12. It will immediately trigger. You hear the madman behind the door, spitting furious words with raw aggression. You can only wait, hoping nothing will happen. The haze of rage in the eyes of the armed man is more terrifying than any visitor. You hear his shallow wheezing. Bastard. He got me. And how many more has he slaughtered? How many has he burned? Thought he'd drag it out since I didn't go down easily, but what about the others? He's gone quiet. You should probably check that he's actually... Because of scum like him, so many are dead. People like you killed my friend. And people like you will never let anybody live in peace. What, you think no one will fight back? These minds damned by insanity? And now, I've lost everything. But you still have more to lose. I'll crush you. I'll drive you deep into the ground. I will drown everything in your blood. Every bastard with a weapon in their hands dies today. Every last one. Oh boy, my favorite theme in media, the cycle of violence. This man is so scared of visitors and death itself that he does everything he can to stay in control and murder those he deems as a threat, even if they aren't actually visitors. That's what the vigilante does. In that action, he hurts those innocents he claims to care about. If he turns on you, visitor or not, you kill him first. You will be consumed by rage and kill everybody you see with the weapon, innocent or not. You become the very thing you seek to destroy. The cycle continues. Okay, finally, let's get to the most confusing and strange ending of them all. That is ending 1. It is also the hardest ending to get, as it took me a lot of tries to get it because so much can go wrong so easily with this one. Also, the fact that it is ending 1 makes it seem almost like it's the main ending, or at least a very important one. So let's get into that. To get ending 1, one single thing has to happen that is a complete chance. You have to find the seductive woman and let her into your house by day 10. Not only this, she has to be a visitor. So not only is it a 1 in 56 chance, there's a 1/2 chance that she has to be a visitor on top of that. So every time someone comes to your door, you have a 1 in 112 chance to start this ending. Not only that, she has to stay alive for 4 days after. So if she is taken by FEMA, the ending is shot. If she is a human and gets killed by a visitor, or you, the ending is shot. Also, if you use kombucha to save in the middle of this ending, when you reload it, that save will no longer work for some reason. A bug probably. Making it even harder. But let's get into what you actually have to do for it. When the woman comes to your house, she will act seductive, sort of suggesting that she will sleep with you if you let her in. You have to let her in. The next day, she will ask how you're doing. If you answer anxious, she will say that this too, in time, will pass. Even if it doesn't, humanity will have a legacy. Do whatever you need to do that day and then go to nighttime. You may notice that that night she looks like she's in pain on your bed with her belly in the air. Just ignore her and go to the next day. During this day, mention how she looked last night, her belly in the sky, convulsing. She will say that she understands you're afraid, and fear can make people see things, but she's glad you're up front with her. Wait until nighttime to see her in the same pose, with her belly even bigger. The next morning, ask her about it again, and she will say that you're scaring her. Why wouldn't you wake her up? Is this the fear of death? Or the fear of something else? Maybe some guilt is eating away at you. Do the same thing the next night. This time her belly will be huge. When you wake up though, she'll be dead. Notably, her body is on your bed, not a trash bag, with her belly blurred out like a visitor died there. What happened? Notably, the curtains in this room can now be interacted with. Doing so will play a baby noise. Now, you have to find the baby twice in your house, hiding. You can find the fetus for the first time on the ceiling fan in the living room, and then the second time in the bathroom in the bedpan near the bathtub. After which, at night, you will open up the first window to see the child being breastfed by a dog. After this frightening scene happens, look through the peephole and trigger the ending cutscene. You sense a presence nearby. You saw the child, yes, but that's not what this is about. Something keeps watching you. A choking fog smothers the world, swallowing every sound. Its silence envelops the world like cotton. It sounds like people are whispering. You call out, but the air falls still. Is meeting them a good omen? Or are they harbingers of disaster? The child stirs in their arms. It can no longer bring light to this world. At least you don't think it can. Is it our salvation or damnation? Panic grips you. The three of them yank the child in opposite directions. You raise your gun and fire blindly, somewhere, anywhere. What's happening? What is this? Why is everyone dressed like that? More figures emerge from the fog. You're the prophet, a woman says. Don't you see? You name the sins of this world. You are our salvation. The child would have led us to a kingdom of horror. No one is ready. But you will drive the darkness away and usher the coming of paradise. Your sacrifice will save us all. Her words leave you paralyzed. What is this madness? Whatever they mean, one thing is for sure. The child is no longer in this world. Who knows what they will do to you? You catch a glimpse of metal nails clutched in a hand among the crowd. Something terrible is about to happen to this town. So, what the fuck was that? This gives like strong Antichrist vibes. A child born of a human and a visitor? Maybe it would usher in a new age. Well, that doesn't matter because it seems like your character shoots and kills it. The town parades you around as a hero. Then it implies that they nail you to a cross and sacrifice you. Maybe for being its father. Maybe that will be enough to stop the sun and the visitors. This ending is seemingly more nonsensical than the others. But why is so much importance given to it? Why does it seem almost different from all the others? The other ones are weird, sure, but this one seems almost like a step above all that. Well, we'll talk about it in the analysis more, but I believe it has something to do with religion and what religion says about what happens after death and the end of the world. As if you couldn't tell, the whole world seems to have a theme of death and the fear of death going on, which we will discuss in a bit. Really quick before we get into the analysis though, let's go over every single person really quickly and their story. It will give us a little bit more of an insight. If you want to skip this part, I understand there's a time code on screen right now to do so, because this like spoils everything. Ready? Okay, let's talk about every single person in the game. First up is the neighbor. You can actually call him and he will be trying to get to the bottom of all of this. This alerts either FEMA or someone who doesn't like him very much. In his last conversation, he will beg you to take care of his daughter if something happens to him, showing that he knows that he has angered the wrong people, probably FEMA. He will die after day 4 no matter what. Next up is the neighbor's daughter. She will say that she actually saw her father's death. She will quite obviously be shaken by this and almost in denial that he even died. She cannot ever be a visitor though, so there's no reason to waste energy to test her. Progressing in her conversation enough will let her give you a phone number for her friend's parents at school. Calling them, they will regretfully inform you that they killed their own daughter because they thought she was a visitor. So, people are just killing children if they think they are visitors. Which, I mean, you can too, but we'll get into that. Next is the tall man. He seemingly will just be annoyed at the state of the world. He will be rightfully very angry about it. He says he would never kill anyone or anything, but he's just done with it all. In his final conversation, he will imply he wants to kill himself. He can never be a visitor, so don't bother checking him. Next up is the cashier. She will seem fine enough, but the longer she stays, the more she realizes she can't remember some important things, and some things don't add up in her story. She doesn't even realize that, and eventually she becomes terrified that she is a visitor herself. In her final conversation, she will seemingly go crazy, yelling that she is a visitor, and sure enough, every single playthrough, she is in fact a visitor. But this shows that a lot of the visitors don't even realize that they themselves are visitors. It is something that people don't understand. You aren't born a visitor, it would appear. Next up is the coat guy, one of the most interesting characters in the game in my opinion, even though he's not tied to any storyline. He will wear a coat despite the world being extremely hot now. If you keep pestering him to show you what's under his coat, he will show you after a few conversations. When he lifts his coat, you will see that his stomach is a black hole. When he reveals that every single person in the room with him will die except for you. This is not explained what this is or why this happens, but it does. The coat guy is always a visitor. Just don't even let him in the first place. Next up is the widow. She will be carrying her husband and beg to be let in. He is obviously dead though. She says she just wants to rest in your house. If you let them, she will tell you their nice little love story and it's quite sweet. Her husband was taken by FEMA and killed. She broke him out of the quarantine zone when she realized that FEMA had killed him. She will leave after the 5th night. She will show you a photo of the two of them if you keep talking to her long enough. She can never be a visitor, so don't bother checking. The alcoholic is next, or as I like to call him, Jack Black, and he is a fanatic that seems to think that the sun killing people is a good thing. The fact that it is cleansing the world of its sins and sinners. The more you talk to him though, the more you realize that he isn't just crazy, he's broken. He had a wife that died during this and he kind of just went nuts. You can give him a beer and he will throw up and you will get an achievement for that for some reason. Now here's a new type of character. one that can be a visitor, but not always. The best way to tell if this one in particular is a visitor is if his eyes are red. If they are, go ahead and shoot him. He's a visitor.
Next up is the Gambler, or as some people call him, the Amogus guy, because his shirt literally says Amogus. I'm not sure what to say about him other than he's a gambler who's racked up a lot of debt. But he's happy because the world is ending, and now he has no debt. He says that after this is all over, he has a scam he wants to pull. He wants to bottle up fresh air and sell it. He can be a visitor, and the way to tell is if he will have dirty nails, red eyes, and a weird aura. Next up is the Doctor. He will tell you that FEMA pretty much shut down all the hospitals after he called them in. FEMA detains people for reasons that were too broad for him. Him thinking they are just killing innocents for the sake of it now. He thinks that FEMA is bullshit, and what they want is just power and to pretend they have everything under control. Which, yeah, that's obvious what they're doing at this point. Strangely, only if he is human, if you take an aura photo of him, he will have a cluster of dark spots near his heart, almost as if he is heavy with regret after working with FEMA. He can be a visitor, and the way to tell is if he has a rash on his hands or dirt under his nails. Next up is the FEMA guy himself, and we know about him already. Next up is the Visitor Mama, and obviously she is always a visitor. She will be upset with FEMA detaining so many people, and she will always be a visitor. Though strangely, she is the only person I could find that will actually have bugs in her ears, like that one thing says. Still don't know what that's about, by the way. Next up is the Granny, or the Babushka. She is always a visitor as well. Her face will melt in conversations when you talk to her, which is creepy. Next up is the Lumberjack, which reminds me of Markiplier for some reason. He is very interesting and gives a little bit of an insight into the Pale Visitor. He will mention how he met the Pale Visitor before he came here, but the Pale Visitor stole his gun, saying that obviously guns won't work on that one. It's dangerous. But he's weird, because sometimes the Pale Visitor won't even kill people. The Lumberjack can be a visitor, and the way to tell is if he has perfect teeth and red eyes. Next up is the Bald Prophecy guy. We know about him already. After that is the Delivery Boy. He will never enter your house, but he will seemingly get more and more depressed as the nights go on, showing how horrible a toll this whole thing is having on people. After that is the Pale Visitor, which we know about him already. Next up is the Mobster, or as I like to call him, Caligura. Fear and Hunger fans will get that joke. He is a mobster that is pretty abrasive and doesn't add much other than being a very dangerous person that has killed a lot of people in a lot of people's stories, and he will try to kill you too if you pull a gun on him. He says he's infamous. He can be a visitor, and the way to tell is if he has a rash under his armpits. Next up is the Seductive Woman, which we already talked about her in Ending 1. Next up is Sister 1. She comes with Sister 2, who is depressed. Their parents died, and her sister are depressed, her sister being more so than her. If you kill Sister 2 in any way, Sister 1 will refuse to talk to you and refuse to be tested. The way to tell if either of them are visitors are if they have hair under their arms. Next up is the Angry Guy. He will be abrasive and he's kind of an asshole. But he says he used to have a wife who became a death cult member. He then beat her because of this. He says he really regrets this though, as before the end of the world, he was never angry or violent, but it's all gotten to him. He can be a visitor, and the way to tell is if he has dirt under his nails, perfect teeth, or a rash under his arm. Next up is the Sun. He will say he has no idea where his family went and he's looking for them. After a few conversations, he will give you his half-sister's phone number to call. If you do this, his sister will offer to take him in. He can be a visitor, and the way to tell is if he has perfect teeth. Strangely, if his eyes are not red, that also means he's a visitor, because he cries if he is human in the room. He will also have a strange aura in his photograph if he is human, it being almost completely gone. Next up is the Ballerina with the cat. She is obviously not human. If you let her live long enough and keep her around to talk to her, after a couple conversations if you try to shoot her, she will disturbingly dance around the first few bullets, then say she's bored and let you kill her. She is always a visitor. Next is the Runaway. She is a girl who looks like Ellie from The Last of Us. She will say she ran away from her parents. It is implied that she suffered both physical and maybe even sexual abuse from her parents, especially her dad. She said she'd always figured she'd kill herself. She can be a visitor, and yes, you can shoot this child, and the way to tell is if her hands have a rash. Next up is a strange one that clears up a mystery that we talked about a while ago, and this is the Eyeless Man.
He will say he ripped his own eyes out to not have to see it again. He says there is a visitor that grows stronger if people look at it. This thing also eats burnt bodies. The thing he is describing is called the Body Eater, a visitor that we've actually seen before. The one that can be seen out the window on the 12th night. If you listen to the radio at all as well, the thing will also be mentioned several times. But this eyeless guy isn't here to tell us more about the Body Eater, pretty much. He will never be a visitor. Next up is the comedian. He is this bald guy and he will always seem very cheerful, but he's actually kind of a tragic character. He had to put his dog down after it was run over by a taxi driver. He has been depressed ever since. He copes by telling jokes. He can be a visitor, and the way to tell is if he has red eyes. Next up is the husband and wife. They seem fine at first, but as you talk to them, it becomes clear that the husband beats her. They can be visitors, and the way to tell is if there are no bruises on the husband's hands. Because if they are, he's human, who beats his wife. The next three are just the death cultists, and they don't really matter. They're just here for the ending, and they can never be visitors. The cult leader is after that, and once again, we talked about him already. Next up is the stoner, or as I like to call him, Daniel Larson. He is simply a stoner and sort of a comic relief character. He doesn't even seem to know that things have gone to shit outside because he's so high. He will ask if you have any movies to watch. He can be a visitor, and humorously, the way to tell is if his eyes are not red. That meaning he is a visitor, because if he's human, he's smoking that shit. Next up is the romantic. This guy is also tragic, but also a little bit fucked up. He met a girl one day, and then when the apocalypse happened, that girl was taken by FEMA. But the thing is, the reason why she was taken was because she was a corpse. He describes how the more she decayed, the more he felt sexually attracted to her body, which is gross. His left hand is also rotting off, which is strange. Weirdly, he is not always a visitor. The ways to tell if he is are if his eyes are red or his teeth are white. Although the teeth colors are really similar for him, so just check his eyes. Next up is the fat guy. This guy is really weird and will be in the bathtub if you let him in. He will tell you that he used to be a minister and he used to have a lot of power in the government, but FEMA let him go. He hates them for this. But also he sort of let them get to that amount of power, so he kind of let FEMA get as powerful as they already were, so he kind of fucked himself over. He will have a rash under his arms if he is a visitor. Next up is the Burned Man. He is an ex-firefighter who got caught out in the sun. He seems to be on death's door. He is one of the more famous characters from this game. He says that sometimes he wishes he died out there with the rest of his troop of firefighters. He cannot be a visitor, so don't bother looking. Next up is the Soda Man. He will arrive with a sewed-up mouth. Someone seems to have sewed his mouth shut, which is alarming. But after you let him in, he will speak in a language you don't understand. Although you can understand him through an Atbash cipher in the Russian language. But he doesn't say much other than he likes Miles Davis, who is a jazz player. The only thing that he wants is to get back to his home country. He will give you a phone number to the embassy. If you call them, they will tell you that they are swamped and they cannot take the Sewed Man. He will never be a visitor either. Next up is a very interesting character, the ex-FEMA agent. He gives us some interesting lore about FEMA. FEMA brought in a man who they thought was a visitor, despite him being just sick, and they just straight up murdered him. No questions asked. That man's wife came and begged for his body, but this ex-FEMA agent did give her the body out of pity and got fired for it. When you let him in, he will try to hide the fact that he used to work for FEMA, because a lot of people rightfully do not like FEMA. He can never be a visitor. But weirdly, he has a lot of the signs of one. He has red eyes, his aura is spotty, and he has a rash under his arms. He also will straight up refuse to show you his hands. He will claim being around visitors for a long time will make your aura spotty like that. If you question him enough, he will drop his former FEMA ID, and then he'll give up what happened. Next up is the Tarot Lady. She is pretty cool because she is so strange. She first of all has 6 extra teeth than the average human, but she's not always a visitor. She will always be holding that Blair Witch Project stick thing. Maybe it's a real thing, but I don't know what it's from. She also has a very unique aura if she is human. Her aura will show a noose around her neck, perhaps in reference to the Hanged Man tarot card, which indicates sacrifice or lack of direction. She can be a visitor, however. The way to tell is if her teeth are very white, or if she does not have that Hanged Man aura, or if her eyes are red. Next up is the Wounded Man. He's a little interesting, as he says he got shot by escaping a FEMA quarantine zone. However, the more you question him, the more his story will fall apart. He will say that he did in fact escape the quarantine zone, but he was actually shot by the vigilante instead for being in the zone. He figured people would be more sympathetic and let him in if he said he was shot by FEMA. He can be a visitor, and the way to tell is if his eyes are red or if he has a rash under his arms. Next up is the grave digger. He says that he ran away from his job after he saw a visitor crawl out from a grave. He hit it with the shovel and ran. He eventually will say that he has a theory about visitors actually. Maybe they are people who have died and still have regrets, like ghosts who cannot move on. They want to find people for attention to their plight. He can be a visitor, and he is one of the hardest ones to spot. The only way to tell is if he has a very slight dialogue change about his eyes, and his aura photo will also appear to have more than one person in it behind him if he is a visitor. It looks like this on screen. Next is the Sleepless Man. He is a very strange character, and yes, he is based on that Mandela catalog guy. He will tell the player that he can no longer sleep since the apocalypse, but he remembers his last dream before it, one in which he was tied to a train tracks and woke up right before it hit him. The reason he is strange is for a couple of reasons. Number one is he has a unique music track that only plays when he is on screen at the front door. His aura is also completely unique, being just straight up absent, whether he's a visitor or not. And he has all the signs of a visitor, despite it being when he's just human. The way to tell if he is a visitor or not is if his teeth are not straight and his nails are clean. It's the opposite of a normal person. Next up is the Homeless Man, who is another tragic character. He will say that he was scavenging for food since the end of the world, but once he saw a little girl with a bullet in the back of her neck, and it traumatized him. He can be a visitor, and the way to tell is if his aura is completely black, or if he has no hair under his arms. Next up is the Mom. She has a child with her, and she will say that her husband took the rest of the kids and this is the only one left. This child will too eventually disappear as well. She will give you a phone number to call her ex-husband if you talk to her enough. If you call him, he will say that actually the mom is the deadbeat, not him. She is the problem. She can be a visitor, and the way to tell is if she has a rash on her hands. Next is the Nun, which is actually kind of a fun character. She's just mean. She will mention a bunch of religious drivel. She mentions that she left her monastery because it was destroyed by people seeking refuge, but those same people she refused because they weren't baptized. She is hard to spot as a visitor, and the only way to tell is she has some unique dialogue, and her aura will be missing. Next up is a really fun character, one of my favorites actually, and it is the Law Guy. He is a comic relief character, and he will just spout lawyer talk over and over and over. Literally every line is almost about how, actually, you can't say that because section 14 of the Constitution will say, or something like that. He's one of the few characters that you can just straight up kill for being annoying. You even get an achievement for doing that. He can be a visitor, and the way to tell is if he has hairless underarms. Next up is my least favorite character, and it is the Bandana Guy. He will beg you to kill someone in front of him so he can see what murder is like. Then when you let him in, he will say actually he changed his mind, he's too scared to see the light leave from someone's eyes. If you kill him, you'll get an achievement for showing him how to kill someone, that person being himself. He can be a visitor, and the way to tell is if he has dirt under his nails. And his eyes will be strangely green instead of blue if he's a visitor. And also his teeth will be strangely yellow instead of white, like it is when he's human. Next up is Sister 2, who we talked about already. After that is the taxi driver. He will mention how he's a taxi driver, and he saw a man with perfect white teeth and he tried to drop him off at a FEMA quarantine zone, only to find out that they planned on taking him as well for bringing that guy in. So he ran away. He also mentions the mobster being a horrible person. He can be a visitor, but strangely, like some of the others, he is strange because the way to tell if he is a visitor is only if he has yellow teeth, clean nails, and not red eyes, the exact opposite of how you should see them. Next up is the teacher, who strangely looks a lot like my brother's wife. She is a teacher who tries to help children as much as she can. She tries to shelter children whose parents kicked them out for being visitors. She then found a bunch of people who were trying to kill a bunch of kids who thought they were visitors. The longer you talk to her, the more upset she will get. And if you tell her that she can no longer mope around, she will take your gun and kill herself. She can never be a visitor. Next up is the conspiracy theorist. When you let him in, he will say that FEMA themselves are all visitors, and all of this is a plot to kill the entire population. But take this with a grain of salt, because he also thinks that potato chips are mind-controlled devices. He can be a visitor, despite what some YouTube videos say, and the way to tell is some dialogue changes and his hands will have a rash on them. After that is the vigilante, who we already know about. Next is the wheelchair guy. He will just be crazy. He will say nonsensical stuff, and he has no legs. The way to tell if he's a visitor is if he has no fingers at all in his hands. Next up seems to be the rarest character to get, because throughout 12 playthroughs, I only saw her once. I call her Karen, because of course that's what I call her. She claims her husband works for FEMA, and will constantly say that if you don't help her, her husband will come down and arrest you and destroy your house, because he works at FEMA. He's important. She can be a visitor, and the way to tell is if she has no nail polish, red eyes, or fungus under her armpits. Next up is the Mushroom Man, and we talked about him. After that is the Immortal Man. He is very strange and an oddity of a character. When you let him in for the first time, he will say, "You made a good choice," because, quote, "You and me, we're immortal." When you ask him about it, he will say that actually we aren't immortal in the way you think. When we die, we just reincarnate. Maybe visitors are just that, reincarnated people. He will also mention that he's looking for his daughter, a girl with purple hair, which is never seen. After this, he will say that demons started appearing on the outskirts of town, and maybe those were the first visitors. But he says that no one remembers things like that now. He will also imply that FEMA is at fault for everything as well. He will then theorize that maybe visitors are the actual real natives of Earth, and we are the ones visiting. He will then wonder if he is a reincarnation as well. He is very weird, but strangely, he is always a visitor, so never let him in. Next up is the Raincoat Child, who is just a reference to another game by the same developer. And then finally, we have the Joyful Man. He will be a strangely optimistic person. He will reveal that he was once a very angry and mean guy. He once lashed out at someone he loved and killed them. But then when the end of the world came, he figured it was a second chance. So now, he's a joyful man. He realizes he needs to change, which it seems he did. He can be a visitor, and the way to tell is if he has a rash on his hands. But finally, that's all the characters. Let's talk about a few secrets before we get into the analysis. The first one is you can find a phone roulette hotline if you listen to the radio. If you do, you can talk to a random person and find out a little bit more about your character. And your guy will say he hates his father. This house is the only thing that's left of him. The protagonist seems to have hated his father and maybe even killed him. The reason why this is implied is the death cult member. I don't know if you remember when I talked about it, but he said that death has touched this house even if you did not kill anyone in this playthrough. Meaning more than likely someone has died in this house. Whether that be your dad or your wife, it's kind of unknown. Okay, let's talk about the analysis finally. What does it all mean? What is the message of this game? What is actually the story? What's the truth? Let's talk about that. Okay, if you could not tell with this myriad of information, the game is about death itself. The message of the game is how humans deal with death. Every single character deals with the idea of death in a different way. There are people like FEMA, who will try to gain power from death and people's fear of it. Then there are people who will worship it and try to find a meaning in it, like the cultists. Then there are people who will try to find religion in it, like those in Ending 1. Your character is a hermit, someone who has nothing in life before the apocalypse. After it starts and people start fearing death more, they all flock to him because he has the things they need, like shelter and room and food. In Ending 2, when the world starts to heal and everyone lives, your character feels disappointment because he has found a meaning in death and those who feared it. What are the visitors? Well, that's kind of a point of contention. They could be underground people, or reincarnated humans, or ghosts, or just a disease that spreads. But I don't think it really matters. They are just simply a placeholder for the threat of death. But what does the house represent? It shows up so much and seemingly has a deeper meaning. Well, in my opinion, it represents what happens after death. It doesn't matter what actually does happen, but the literal idea of the afterlife, whether that be heaven and hell, nothingness, or reincarnation. It is the idea of what happens after death. It is home. Humans only live for like 85 years. What about the rest of eternity? We are simply visiting Earth, and then we return to where we truly belong, wherever that is. That home is for humans. That house for our souls. Every time the house is mentioned, Think about this instead. It is the afterlife. We simply return to it. The gameplay loop of having us let people in, despite them maybe being a threat, is also similar to how we should live. We have to let people in close. Otherwise, we will just be the hermit in the end. It may be dangerous, and we may have to get rid of some people, maybe not by killing them, but just by cutting them out of our lives. But we do it because we have to make connections to truly live, and that is what life is about. To expand on all of this, I believe the entire game is a metaphor for dealing with the fear of death, and it's saying we should not fear it. It will be like going home, back to the house where humans belong. I believe that is the true meaning of No, I Am Not Human. But that's about it. Thank you so much for sticking with me for this long game video, as I really do love this game, and as soon as I saw it, I knew I wanted to do a video on it because it's right up my alley. The meaning is similar to another game we reviewed a long time ago called Flathead, but this one is way more fleshed out and has a pretty fun gameplay loop. If you don't agree with what I think and you have a different idea of what the game is really about, please let me know in the comments, as I would love to hear your theories. But I do think that this game is pretty good, and I really hope you all enjoyed. Next week, we are going to be doing the book All Smiles Until I Return by Aaron Beauregard, and I hope to see you all there. Thank you all for 68,000 subs, because that is a huge number, and each and every one of you is a hero to me for watching these videos. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I will see you all next time.